are making a lot of noise at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, got to get dealt with.
10-5, and he streaks in. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5 to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
44-19, the final score in Week 2 of the NFL season as the Dallas Cowboys fall to the New Orleans Saints at home. It was not a pretty day for the Dallas Cowboys, and if you are a Cowboys fan, you might have already wanted to forget it, but you can't get better if you forget what happened. You got to learn from some of the mistakes, and that's what we're going to give you the opportunity to do here on Cowboys Game Night. He's Isaiah Stanback. He's about to go through the film, talk about what went wrong for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us because what went right in Week 1 went wrong for the Cowboys, very much so in Week 2.
Yeah, Dallas did not do anything offensively. They did not show up in the way in which they needed to against an explosive outfit of that of the New Orleans Saints. And then defensively, it seemed like everything they did was completely wrong. They were chasing guys. They were choosing the wrong doors. They were coming downhill. They were going sideline to sideline. They didn't know where to look, and ultimately they should have been looking in the end zone because that's where the New Orleans Saints spent most of their afternoon.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit. The Cowboys entering this one 1-0. So is New Orleans. Both teams winning their season opening matchup, and they had an opportunity to meet for the first time since 2021. New Orleans on offense first. They didn't waste any time finding their weapons. Chris Olave open. Derek Carr finds him 34 yards down the right sideline. That sets up Alvin Kamara. 5 yards out, he punches his way in, 7-0 Saints. Dallas would have an answer with a field goal, but at this point in the game, 3 points can't help whenever the Saints strike like this. Rashid Shaheed down the right hash mark. He takes it 70 yards to the house.
Yeah, you just can't allow him to get up on your toes. Malik Hooker opens his hips the wrong way. Shaheed makes him pay. The speed is just too much for this Dallas defense. They were to make a big touchdown over the top of the safeties.
Speed paying off. Dallas on another drive would have it into the red zone. Dak from the 12-yard line hands it off to Brandon Cooks. He has nowhere to go. Next play sets up 3rd down and long. Dak pressured. He's brought down for the sack. That leads to another Dallas field goal. 21-6 is the score. New Orleans keeps their foot on the gas. Alvin Kamara again. His first one was a rushing touchdown. This one is a receiving touchdown. 57 yards out on the screen. He had so much room to work, and he takes it all the way in.
They just find ways to get him the ball. I mean, you saw him on passes, you saw him on runs, and here you go, you see him on the screen. The defense didn't know where to look, and again, when you have speed like that, you have to keep your eyes on your keys.
Dallas was desperate for points at this point in the second quarter. CeeDee Lamb says, don't worry, guys, I got you. 65 yards out, he evades the tacklers, and he's off to the races. His first touchdown of 2024. Finally, a Dallas highlight.
Yeah, something positive finally happened. Dak just finds him on a corner route. Good route by CeeDee Lamb. Way to fight through some adversity there in terms of 2 defenders, and he finds his way in the end zone.
Unfortunately, it's short-lived for Dallas because after CeeDee Lamb found the end zone, well, so did Alvin Kamara for his 3rd touchdown of the first half. New Orleans kept their foot on the gas. Dak trying to answer. He fires it to Jalen Brooks, who falls down at the stem of his route. Pass is intercepted and returned 45 yards all the way back down to the Dallas 20 as New Orleans kept on rolling and set up their offense. Now this time, because of their defense, at the 20-yard line with another opportunity to score, and Derek Carr converts. He sneaks it into the end zone to make it 35-13 Saints. 35 points by the Saints, tied for the most allowed in a first half for Dallas Cowboys team history. Dallas bookended the second and third to make it 35-19, but that was about as close as they would get. Midway through the third, the ground game couldn't be stopped. Alvin Kamara scores his 4th touchdown of the day. Derek Carr, Dak Prescott embracing postgame. It was not a warm embrace for the Saints to the Cowboys in Week 2. 44-19, the final scores. They take care of business. Now, we take a look at these final stats. It's time to flush the stats, but you can't necessarily flush the film. When we come back, we've got the Super Bowl champion, Isaiah Stanback, breaking down what happened on some of the key plays in the Cowboys and Saints matchup in Week 2. Right after this with more Cowboys Game Night.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
All right, it's time to break down the film as Isaiah Stanback takes us to the telestrator, looking at what went wrong in the 44-19 loss to the New Orleans Saints. Let's start with Rashid Shaheed. He was the leading receiver for New Orleans Saints in the Week 1 matchup against Carolina. He had 70-plus yards in that one. He had 70 yards on this play from scrimmage. What happened on this?
Yeah, well, first of all, we got to go out there and say, hey, Coach Zimmer called the right defense for this particular play, but it doesn't matter what he called if the guys don't execute it the proper way. Person that is the culprit on this particular play is going to be Malik Hooker. Whenever you have speed, you have to respect the fact that I have to stay back. What are my responsibilities on this play? Well, these cornerbacks are going to sit up here. These guys are responsible for this area. Now, these defensive backs, these safeties, have to get back here. They're responsible for a half, okay? Nobody gets deeper than them. That's why they're called a safety. So as we, again, look back here, Malik Hooker, let's go ahead and play it through. You're going to see Rashid Shaheed over here on this side of the screen. What he does a good job of is simply just climbing onto the toes of Malik Hooker. And as you guys see at the top of your screen, boom, we're going to pause it right there. As soon as he gets on these toes right here, he's going to lean a little bit that way. And what that does is it gets Malik Hooker's eyes going that way. Now, what happens there? Now, all of a sudden, I'm able to go here and go over the top. What's going on the backside is our backside safety has to respect the fact that this receiver is coming across. So he cannot help on the deep end. So by allowing that receiver to get on your toes, Malik Hooker at the top, boom, all of a sudden, boom, he sticks it there, and now he's over the top. The ball just has to be placed in space. Rashid Shaheed isn't completely too fast to go ahead and allow him to get that close to you. Malik Hooker has to get out of his back pedal. You guys will hear Barry Church saying, whenever you guys are responsible for a deep half, if that man gets on your toes and he's faster than you, you are already beat.
And we'll take a look at this close-up angle of it as well, because Shaheed, the speed is there. It took a perfect throw from Derek Carr. Don't get it wrong, because you get over the top, it still takes a perfect throw, but Carr's been playing unbelievable football. You have to know that and stay beyond your man.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's help here, right? Okay, we got Kalen Carson doing his job. He's trying to funnel everything inside. He's trying to help out in terms of trying to push his man to the inside, okay? But the one man, again, that has to be more alert is going to be right here. Malik Hooker has to get out of his back pedal. So let's play it through. Okay, you see Kalen Carson come up. He does a good job of forcing inside. All right, now all of a sudden, what do we say? As soon as he gets on his toes, boom, pause it right there. He is now on his toes. Your eyes are now to the sideline. You're looking that way, but I'm going this way, okay? And it doesn't really matter the fact that you can flip your hips around. I'm going to the deep half, and now all of a sudden, it is a foot race. And if I have a foot race, I'm going to put my money on somebody. I'm putting my money on Rashid Shaheed over Malik Hooker every time.
He really has been a speedster and another weapon. I mean, you add him with Kamara, you add him with Chris Olave. They have different elements. And even Tom Brady talked about it. It's a unique-looking offense because of their variety, and they showed some of that variety as well. So we've got more to break down for this Cowboys team and what happened in the 44-19 win when we come back with more Cowboys Game Night right after this.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Welcome back to Cowboys Game Night as we continue to break down the film of what happened in the Cowboys' 44-19 loss. Let's take a look at Alvin Kamara. Oh, man, 180 yards from scrimmage. He had 115 on the ground. He had 65 through the air, including this screen pass that went for 57 yards. It was second down and 7, Isaiah, but at the same time, you cannot afford for this much overrunning. I felt like Dallas was off balance the entire game, especially on this play.
Yeah, they were kept off kilter, and one of the things is New Orleans Saints waited for Dallas to get into these man-to-man situations. It was almost like they had their calling card. Once they went man, they said, we got something for you. And there's man declarations, right? So let me help you guys understand exactly what that looks like. If you guys, first thing you're going to look at is Rashid Shaheed, somebody who killed us all day today as well. He's going to come in motion. What happens is when he goes in motion, as soon as he sees a man follow him, down the New Orleans Saints know that they have exactly the call that they want. They want man-to-man on this. So let's go ahead and play it through. Okay, so boom, here we go. Man is going across in motion. They get the man coming across. Pause it right there. Maris live foul right here. He walks down on the line of scrimmage. This is exactly what they want. Now, as we continue to play it through, all right, the ball is snapped. Now we have guys. Pause right there. If you're going to have a free run, Damone Clark, go. Go to the quarterback. Take your shot right now. We have to get off these blocks right here, okay? I understand that there's a big boy. I get it. Micah Parsons, we need you to win right here on the edge as well. But it doesn't happen. So what do you allow to happen? You're going to drift. Okay, there's one man, pause. that's now responsible, and that's going to be Eric Kendricks. Eric Kendricks is solely responsible for getting around this offensive lineman and coming and making the tackle on Alvin Kamara. But it's not as easy as it says, because now he has to be responsible for what? If Alvin Kamara wants to go outside this man, he's responsible for that. So there's a two-way go. Alvin Kamara can go this way, or he can come this way. It doesn't matter what this man, Eric Kendricks, does. He's going to be wrong because there's a man right in front of him that's ready to block him. So as we play it through, Eric Kendricks does what? Tries to go outside, okay? By going outside, Alvin Kamara chooses the other door, door number 2. He's coming inside, and now guess what? I'm faster than everybody else on the defensive side of the ball. I am now going to run for a touchdown.
So let me take it back to right whenever the catch is made here. I have a question for you. You talked about door number 2, right? You talked about this opportunity right here. I mean, there's an entire lane, an entire cutback. It wasn't just a lane. It was the whole highway for him to run. What happened on the backside?
So let's run it back to the very beginning of the play, because somebody didn't touch on an initial. But as we do this motion, okay? All right, you guys see the motion going across the screen. Okay, we talked about Shaheed going over here, man following across. Okay, who else is a part of this? Well, there's a tight end right here. This tight end on the line of scrimmage is going to do something that's very important on this play. He's going to wash out the entire other side of the defense. So you guys play it through. You see him releasing. Pause it right there. Now he is going across the face. He's going to take this man with him. We now know that it's man-to-man coverage, so he has to go with him, right? If he's turning that way, he's turning his back. Now we got Kendricks going this way. Who is now responsible for this entire section of the field? Nobody is responsible for that section of the field, because everybody has been taking away from the direction of the play, and now you utilize the speed as your best player on offense, Alvin Kamara. He is just too good to give that much space to.
He really took advantage of it all day long. You don't just end up with 180 yards from scrimmage, especially from the balanced attack, and of course he had the 4 touchdowns as well. So that's what happened on the defensive side of the football. When we come back, we take a look offensively. What happened on the 2 interceptions from Dak Prescott? One of them might have been his fault. The other one might not have been. We'll talk about it right after this.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
He's the Emmy Award-winning analyst and Super Bowl champion, Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans as we continue to break down the film of the Cowboys' loss to the New Orleans Saints. And Dak Prescott threw his first 2 interceptions of the season. We'll go through both of them here, starting with the first one to Jalen Brooks. This one may not have been his fault, but it's all set up, right? It's all connected.
Yeah, absolutely. This is all connected. But actually, this is not as bad as it always seems, right? You watch it, it looks like, oh, Dak just threw an interception.
Oh,
That's
man.
not what happened, okay? Coach McCarthy called a really good play. Everybody executed their assignment. But what happens is sometimes you just slip. And that's what took place on this particular play. Right up here, this has got cover 2 defense right here, okay? There's a cornerback out here as well. He's going to be sitting out here, right? What's the responsibilities of these guys and the safeties? These guys are responsible for their halves. And then you have these hook players, okay? He's responsible for the middle. These guys are going to be responsible for this area right here. So what are you trying to do? Well, right off the bat, we have Jalen Tolbert in the slot. His job is to get vertical, okay? But by getting vertical, he turns the attention and the eyes of this middle linebacker away from the middle of the field. What else is going on out here, okay? Well, you have Jalen Brooks out here on the inside. He's going to go run a nice little inside stem, and he's going to do a rolling little, he's going to run a rolling in route, okay, at 12 yards. All right, why is that important? As we play it through, you guys are going to understand why. Okay, the ball's being snapped. We just talked about who? We talked about Tolbert. Pause it. Tolbert did his job, okay? He's getting up on this safety. This interior, this middle linebacker's eyes are now where? Looking that way. Where is there a hole at right now in the defense? Okay, big hole right there in the defense. Brooks does a good job of getting an inside stem, going up, and he's snapping it now to this inside, right where we were talking about where the opening is at. But what happens? Sniper got him right here on his foot. Because of that, he falls. Had he not fallen, that would have been a perfect play call, perfect execution, perfect pass. It would have been a first down for the Dallas Cowboys.
That one hurts because he's in front of his guy, too. He ran the route. He had the separation. Dak saw it, saw the open part of the middle of the field, but then as soon as you lose your footing, it's over with at that point.
Absolutely.
That's an easy interception. Yep. The other one may have been more on Dak Prescott. What happened on this occasion?
Yeah, this is straight man-to-man defense, okay? And Dak has to recognize this, okay? You guys have this, you have obviously Schoonmaker right here. This linebacker is responsible for Schoonmaker, okay? You also have, we have man-to-man here. We have man-to-man in the slot, man-to-man out here. So everybody's locked up. But one thing you know, if you have man-to-man, there's probably going to be one safety that's responsible in terms of being in the furthest man back. But you have to be aware for who? You have to be aware for the robber.
Ooh.
Okay, the robber is going to be the honey badger himself, who's going to be sitting there. Literally, his only job is to look at the eyes of Dak Prescott and just go ahead and lie in the weeds, okay, like a little lion right here, okay? So, boom, the ball is snapped. We talked about everybody being manned up, right? But who is watching them? Pause it again. Okay, who's watching him? The honey badger is watching Dak, okay? He doesn't see him the entire time. He's literally just lurking, waiting for somebody to cross over here across the middle of the field. The ball is thrown. You see him tracking the eyes of the crosser. Who is the next man that could possibly get the ball? I see where Dak's going. Thank you very much. I'll take that early Christmas present. And now all of a sudden, he's partying on the ground with his teammates taking care of him. Dak has to be aware of that, okay? You got man-to-man coverage. Who has the responsibility? You're responsible for you. Safety's back there. Okay, those guys are taken care of. Who's the man that can roam free? I got you. He did not have him on that one. The honey badger had him.
See, that's interesting, too, because his only job is to basically spy Dak Prescott, not as a quarterback spy in mobility terms, but from coverage standpoint. Tyrann Mathieu, one of the best to do it in all of football. He does it again there. He has the interception. So ways to improve for the Cowboys going into that matchup next week with the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be tough. That defense is nasty. They've got a safety, Kyle Hamilton, that's one of the best in the league as well. We hit our keys to improving and getting that second win when we come back.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
One final look at the final stats from the 44-19 loss to New Orleans in Week 2. The Cowboys have a Week 3 matchup with the Baltimore Ravens looming at AT&T Stadium. But if it's anything close to what they put on the field today, they may have some trouble against the team that was represented in the AFC title game a year ago. Wrapping up Cowboys Game Night, I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Isaiah Stanback. Isaiah, it was a lot of assignment and alignment issues in week number 2 against the New Orleans Saints. That doesn't get much easier going up against the Baltimore Ravens in week 3. How do you prepare for a team like Baltimore that has the weapons that they do on offense? You talk about Zay Flowers, you talk about Derrick Henry, and then, of course, the reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson.
I mean, you have to go back and watch the film, right? Just like we're addressing the film right now, you have to go back and look at yourself and say, where did I fall short of where I was supposed to be? And not only that, now you have to look at it and say, okay, where are my weak spots? Today, we suffered from our not having our eyes on our keys. Today, we suffer from misdirection. Today, we were out, we lost on the speed side of things, okay, athleticism. Okay, where have we struggled in the past? Well, physicality. Teams like San Francisco 49ers have kicked your butt physically, okay, in the past. So now you're going to face an opponent that possesses both speed and the physicality. You have the Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers in terms of speed. You have some size and some dual threat ability in Isaiah Likely and Andrews at the tight end position. And then at the running back position, obviously you got the big fella and big Derrick Henry that's going to be coming downhill. Defensively, these guys run around and hit. Everybody knows Baltimore is known for their defense. So you really have to go back and address the areas and say, hey, how can I be most prepared for what it is that we're going to be presented to us when we step on that field? Because you're going to get the best version of a team that has always been in the conversation in the AFC, and now they're coming in angry as an 0-2 opponent that cannot afford to go 0-3.
And I think that's the big thing to look forward to as well, is they are going to be proven not only because they're facing the brand and the highly vaulted and highly talked about Dallas Cowboys, they've got something to prove because they're 0-2 going into this matchup. John Harbaugh and company is not going to allow that team to be on their back foot. They're not going to be on their back heels. This is going to be a really tough matchup for the Cowboys, even though it is at home. But both teams have something to prove after week 2. We'll see who has the better week of preparation going into it. Plenty of coverage all week long on DallasCowboys.com. You can catch Isaiah and myself on Talking Cowboys 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. Plenty more to come from DallasCowboys.com on Special Edition as well later in the week. And then Cowboys pregame live gets started 2 p.m. Central Time on Sunday. For Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeomans. That does it for us for Cowboys Game Night. We'll see you next week.